Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Hometown Heroes. I'm Mike Kenichi, and I am real honored today. The person you just saw in some of those clips when we opened up was, of course, outstanding runner, both at Derby High School and at Central Connecticut State University. Former state champion. I mean, she's done it all, and we're going to talk about that. The one and only Kiley Rodriguez. And Kiley, I want to thank you for coming on today. It's a real privilege and an honor for me.
Thanks for having me.
So, Kiley, let me ask you right off the bat, how did you first decide that you wanted to be a runner? I mean, I know there's been a great feeder program in the Derby Middle School for years, but how did it all begin for you?
Yeah, so it's quite interesting. I guess in like 7th grade, I kind of, I was looking for like a community, and like, I think at that time I was like being bullied in my friend group, like the typical like middle school things. And I know I was in Gazo's class, and he kind of was like talking about like running and like his cross country team, and he would always have like pictures of like his runners like on his like screen and everything. And a lot of my friends were runners as well, and they were in the class with me, so they would always be talking about it. And I definitely was searching for like a new group of friends and a community. And I just said one day to Gazo, I was like, you know what, like I could run. Like I thought it was like easy, just something like to do. And then he said, okay, like come tomorrow. And I like had no idea like what to expect, so I show up in like my Converse, and he claims that I was wearing like jean shorts, which I don't think is true, but it could be. And he just like kind of like threw me in like a race for my first run ever. So that's kind of how it started, I would say. And it wasn't fun, I would say. Like that first race, I was just like excited to be with my friends, and it was really painful. And I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but you know, they seem to like it, so I guess I'll just keep doing it. And it kind of turned into an obsession like over time. So
Right. And the thing is, Kiley, you made a good point. It wasn't fun at first. You really have to like to run to do it. I mean, did you start off not enjoying running? Because I know some kids, distance running isn't easy for them, and you really have to be motivated to do it because you got to condition yourself that you're going to be running for, if you're doing like 3 miles, you're going to be running for close to a half hour, if not more. So, I mean, was that a struggle at first?
it definitely was. I think at the time I only was running like 1.7 miles or something like that. So it was definitely like easier, but it was really hard. I definitely didn't like it at first. But I think over time, like as I saw the progression, like a week would go by and I would see like, oh, I'm running a little bit faster than I was last week. And just seeing like the progress that I was making by the end of the season, I had dropped so much time that I was actually like really excited, and I became like obsessed with like seeing that progress. And I was like, okay, like I definitely want to keep getting better at this. And then I kind of started searching ways like, well, how do I get better at this? And yeah, it really does become like an obsession. But like at first it's like you really don't like it. It's just like it's not
Yeah.
fun.
Right. And let me ask you this. I mean, before cross country or track had come into the equation, I mean, did you play other sports? Was there sports that you liked, or was this really like your first sport that you really gravitated towards?
Yeah, that cross country was definitely my first sport. And I always wanted to do like something. Like I was thinking about like soccer and stuff like that, but I just never really got into it. But I do remember like when I was young, like I would just like kind of run for fun, like not in any like kind of road races or anything, but like me and my friends would like always play tag and like just like little things like that. So I definitely enjoyed running, but like just not as a sport until like I realized, oh, it actually is a sport. Like I didn't even know what cross country was for the longest time.
Right. So let me ask you, how was the, you mentioned it a little bit, but how was the first meet for you? I mean, were there nerves, or were you more or less just like too young to really get nervous for things like that? Or was there a lot of anxiety when you first did it?
There were no nerves, just pain, just pure pain. Like going up that like first hill was like terrible. I was questioning like, why am I doing this? Like I don't understand why I'm doing this. Before the race, I really didn't know like what to expect. I just kind of like stood in line and I was like, okay, like this is what we're doing. Like just like follow like what everyone else is doing. And I just like had no idea what I was getting myself into pretty much.
Right. So let me ask you though, Kylie, as what made you stick it out? Because again, like sometimes kids, and they may do it for that whole season, then they don't go back to it. How, was there a turning point in that same season where uh, you got more and more excited about doing it, or what kept you going? Where you were going to come back the following year?
Yeah, so it was definitely seeing that like progress, like just seeing like how much time had like come off from like the very first time that I ran. I think for that course specifically, it was like I think I ran like 17 minutes or something like that, 18 minutes. And then like by the end of the season, I think it was like close to like 15 minutes or something like that. And just seeing like that like chunk of change come off got me like really excited. I was like, okay, like I actually like doing this and like I like seeing that. And I remember like going to my parents like after a meet one day and just like telling them like I just like I had a personal record and like just like being really excited about it and like kind of like realizing that like I wanted to do things like on my own to try to like get better and figure out just like a way to get better. And then I think also the running club also helped. Um, Once we transitioned like out of like cross country, like having that like just like a community of like runners just like of all different abilities like line up on the start line and seeing them like just like all these fast runners like go, and then I'm just like there and I'm like I don't know how to run a 5K, but like I'm trying my hardest. And then like being able to like just like chill out afterwards, like everyone, there's always like food and stuff after like road races and stuff like that, and people would just like talk and there was like awards and stuff like that, and just like kind of like the hype around that got me really excited and really into it, and I just like wanted to be a part of that.
Right. And one thing I've always said to people, because I did track when I was in high school, and the other sports I played, while they were fun, they weren't as fun as track was to me, because I'll tell you, those bus rides to different meets were some of the best bus rides ever. And then there's a lot of downtime to meets sometimes, especially in track. I mean, cross country, you do it right away, but track, if you're in a event, it may take like 6 or 7 events before you do your event. So, I mean, you really get to bond with your friends on that team. And that's how you build great relationships and friendships. Would you say that was a big part of why you loved running as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, I met some of like my closest friends now through running. And yeah, it was like it was really nice to have like a group of people, like especially like in middle school. I know like there was like Nicole Rizzo, Rachel Fleischer, Nicolette Tassi at the time, like she was running, and Sarah Gherkins, like they were all like my like closest friends at the time. And like having people who were like-minded and going towards like a specific goal together was just like it was really nice. And like I don't know, in a way like it felt like we were just like one mind, kind of just like going towards like the same thing. And we all wanted the same thing, we all wanted to like win and stuff like that. And I think we would bond over that, and then just like random things too, like we would just have like nothing to talk about on run, so we would just talk about random things and just like building those friendships. It really it helped a lot.
Right, definitely. And I think about this too, Kylie, and this is something that's been going on over 10 years now. But, you talk about how influential Mike Gaza was to you, but I just think about how important he's been and invaluable he's been to so many kids over the years, because especially in the summer, he devotes his time at least 3 times a week going to that river walk, having those kids run, and he's doing their times. So how important was it to be able to have somebody, a mentor like that, but also to have that availability in the summer where you can run still and keep yourself ready when the fall comes?
Yeah, yeah, he's been like really great. Like even like to this day, like we like meet up like at least like once every other week. Like he keeps up with me and everything. And yeah, I think having that like was really great. Like he cares about his athletes a lot. Like again, like he would have like pictures of them like in his classroom. Like he would really like showcase his runners, and he was very passionate about it. He still is very passionate about his athletes. And I think it definitely helped me. It motivated me to even like want to be there in the first place, because he made it like a safe area where you can be yourself. And he like motivated you to like just like want to do your best every time like you would go and run. And every time like you'd come up with your excuses like, I don't really want to do it, I'm tired, but he's like, no, you got to put in the work pretty much. And yeah, so that was like really good. And he does like, he puts the time and the effort to make sure that his kids are having fun and doing what they need to do to get better. And he allows that space. So I think that's really good. And it's amazing that he's been doing it for this long too.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, like I said, he's been so important to Derby, and that running club, because people forget too, Kylie, there wasn't a cross country team for quite a few years. They didn't have one. And I really think, like, not obviously Coach DeLugo, Coach Muzz, and Coach Andrews, but Gazzo, getting that feeder program started in the middle school really played a big part in the success that these past Derby teams have had winning state championships, because it started at the middle school when he started doing it.
Right.
Right. So let me ask you this, Kylie. Were you confident by the time you entered your freshman year that you could be a tremendous runner for Derby? I mean, did you have it in you where you said, you know what? What kind of goals did you set for yourself when you got to high school as far as running went?
I honestly, I didn't really believe in myself completely. Like when I first entered high school, um, I thought that like I could be like good. I didn't really have any goals though. I just knew like I needed to put in the work and to like trust the training that Coach DeLugo like was setting up for me, because it was much different than what I was used to. And I knew that like if I just followed like the plan, that eventually I was going to see results. And I didn't know what those results were, but I just knew to just like kind of like trust it. And I don't think I think going into it, I didn't really believe in myself until maybe like NVL's. My first cross country NVLs was when I started to realize like I had potential to be good. And other than that, like I was just like, I don't know, it was a hard transition from like middle to high school, but yeah, it was good.
Right. So, what did what do you what do you like better, Kylie? Or I should say, when you were in high school, more or less, did you like cross country more? Did you like track more? I mean, which one did you enjoy more? Like, where did you feel more comfortable with when you were performing?
When I was performing, I definitely preferred track a little bit more, just because I actually liked the fact that everyone was watching me, and like I couldn't really like I didn't have any room to mess up. Like I had to be like on point. And then I also just like the fact that like I knew like you have to know like certain splits, like so I knew like where I was pretty much like every lap. So I like that performance wise, but I still do enjoy like cross country more than track in terms of like um, the team and everything, because it's more intimate, it's a smaller team and everything. And just like having like the atmosphere just like kind of like shift during cross country season, where everyone's like excited and together, like you're doing like the same thing together. I think that is like it's really like amazing. So I definitely prefer cross country for that reason, but I would say performance wise, track is definitely what I like better.
Right. So, Kylie, let me ask you. You mentioned a couple of them, obviously. You mentioned Rachel. You mentioned Gherkins. Who were some of the kids that, when you were a freshman on that team, that really kind of took you under their wing and kind of helped you or made you feel a part of the team? Who would you say some of those were?
Definitely Gabby Prizio.
Yeah.
She took me under her wing for sure. And she kind of like she set a good example like throughout my whole cross country like career, and like track career, like throughout high school. She was just like out there, and she was like breaking records and like winning meets and everything. And I was just like, I want to do that one day. Like that's amazing. And like to this day, like we're really good friends. And yeah, she was a huge impact on my life for sure.
Right, and it's always good too when you have a upperclassman who is kind of looking out for you, because a lot of times, you worry about that when you're an underclassman, especially if you're a freshman or sophomore, how you're going to be received, treated and stuff like that, because you never know, because you're a younger kid. So when they take you under their wing like that, it just makes you feel so much more confident in yourself. Like now you could do your workouts. You've got these teammates that are rooting for you, and it really just helps in so many ways. And that's really why you become successful, because it's obvious what you do individually, but it's also what the team does as well and how they help you. So that's just as instrumental as what you do as an individual.
Yeah, for sure. I think Gabby definitely like set the tone for the whole team. So like when the group of like there was my group, and then the year after me, we had like Rachel Fleischer, Nicole Rizzo, and Sarah Gherkins come in, and like the example that Gabby like set for all of us, like I think really helped us get to like the state championship where like we actually did win. I think she like kind of like laid the foundation for us, like okay, this is how like we're supposed to act, this is how we work hard, like this is what we need to do to win. And I think she definitely set that example.
Right. And the thing of it is, Gabby, I'm sorry, Kylie, uh, the big thing about Coach DeLugo is he had a running background in Naugatuck. He was a tremendous runner for Naugatuck, but he really believed in you girls, like that you girls could be successful, just like Gazzo did. And I remember talking to him. I want to say I was talking to him maybe around 2014, and he really felt like that class in 2016 should win that state title. He said that many times, that they should be the group that's going to win the state title. So, I mean, how important has he been? Because, I mean, he's been a very successful coach at Derby. It's a shame, I recently learned he's not going to be coaching anymore at Derby, but I mean, he's played a big part, just like Gazzo has, just like Muzz and Andrews and all these other ones who have just done such a good job with you girls and boys. I mean, talk about him a little bit and the impact he's made on you.
Yeah, his training was like really really good. Like he also like he would go run with us. Like in the beginning, like when I was a freshman, he would go and run with us. And like I think that running background too, he would always talk about like his marathon training, and that kind of like motivated us. Is like he wanted to be great just as much as like we did. So there was kind of like that like balance, and he was also very like attentive to like our training and stuff like that. So that was like really important. He made it especially important to like individualize like our training. So like I know for me personally, like over time, like I became kind of like injury prone. So he was very like attentive to that. He would always ask me like questions, and like he would adjust my training like as needed. And so that was very like helpful. And he would also like he loved to win. So like that was kind of like again like the undertone like of the team was just like okay, like we all want to be like successful, and like we're all kind of like one mind kind of going towards that goal. So that was definitely like really helpful to like have him as a coach.
Right. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Kylie, but I think maybe your freshman or sophomore year, you were awarded the conference most outstanding distance performance and the most outstanding overall performance for indoor track. Just talk about that, because I mean, here's a situation where you're going out for the team in middle school because you're just trying to be a part of something, and then you get recognized for something like that. As a young sophomore, that had to just be so gratifying for you and so rewarding.
Yeah, so that meet was insane. I again like at that point, like I think that was kind of like a turning point in my running career where I actually did like start to believe myself that like I could like take running to like a different level than I originally thought. And like Coach DeLugo, like he again like he believed in me, and like he knew like from the start, like he knew like my potential. But I really didn't believe in it until that meet, and like it was just like insane, like winning like that award. I just like I wasn't expecting it at all, and yeah, I remember like that day like being like emotional because it was just like so like overwhelming. Like it was practically like I won the Olympics. Like that's what it felt like. But yeah, that was a good day.
Right, definitely was. And one of the things I wanted to bring up to you, Kylie, is we've heard of A-Rod, we've heard of J-Rod, but in Derby, we have this very special athlete known as K-Rod. I mean, great feeling for you, I'm sure, to get a nickname like that. I mean, it's not a hard nickname to choose, but still, you're getting that nickname because number one of who the person you are, but also the athlete you are and the runner you are. So that has to be a tremendous feeling that your teammates, former teammates, even Gazzo, and I'm sure Gazzo probably came up with the name if I had to really think about it, to get a nickname like that. And that's what people affectionately know you as is K-Rod.
Yeah, it's pretty funny like when people kind of like recognize me as that. Like even like now if like I do a like a road race or something like that and like people will like call me K-Rod like as I like go up like for like an award or something like that if I do a road race or something. I think it's pretty funny that I get called that, but yeah, I guess it's kind of cool like just like being known as like K-Rod, which is I don't know, kind of legendary, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. So let me ask you, Kylie, going into that 2016 season, what was the goal that you and your teammate? I mean, obviously you wanted to win the state title, no doubt about it. You had won the NVLs, I think, the year before in 2015. So that was like the first real big championship Derby cross country had in a long time. So, I mean, just talk about what the mindset was for you and your fellow teammates going into that 2016 season. Was it win or bust?
Yeah, so that season like that was like the one thing that we really had on our mind is like okay, like we got second last year, I believe, if I remember that correctly. Yeah, I think it was we got second in 2015 and we really wanted to win and I remember like the whole day like everyone like wasn't feeling good. Like I think I was sick. I think Nicole was also like sick that day. Um, I forget like who else. Like there was like some other things where like it was just like not a good day for us like in the morning and we were all like kind of worried and like unsure if like winning was even like possible, but everyone just kind of like came through and yeah, we did end up winning, so that was cool.
Yeah. And what was that feeling like, Kylie? Because, I mean, listen, like anything else, I'm sure you've watched sports over the years or saw these championship moments and you see it on TV and you don't really know, you can't appreciate what they're feeling like until it happens to you. So I mean, you saw how hard it was to run and train and do all that stuff for so many years and all the work that goes into it. I mean, what was the feeling like when you girls realized you had won the Class S championship?
Yeah, that moment, like when they called our name, like I like still hear like the voice and like just like us kind of like going up and like getting like the trophy was like really fun. But yeah, it was amazing because like I remember like my freshman year just like kind of like watching like these girls like go up and like get their awards and like thinking like oh like that's never really gonna be me like but it was like so like surreal and like I couldn't stop smiling like that whole morning.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the first Derby Girls championship ever as a Class S championship. So I mean, to know that you'll always be linked with that and associated with that, that you girls were the first group that won the first Class S championship in cross country at Derby, that has to be a great feeling as well. Because I mean, listen, you know how hard it is, and in Derby, it's a small town. It's not easy to get kids to go out for stuff like this, and that's just a credit to all the girls who committed themselves, dedicated themselves to get this championship. So that really has, even 7 years later, you still have to be very proud of that.
Yeah, it is a good feeling and I do think I take it for granted sometimes just because like I think it's like oh yeah like it's in the past, okay, like let me move on, but I do think that it is like an amazing feeling to know that like I was a part of that team and that group of girls, like it was amazing.
Right. And then the winning that is what you're trying to accomplish, and anything else is a bonus. You know, it's gravy. And you also were named to the All-State Class S cross country team, and that had to be an unbelievable feeling because listen, you're trying to do your best. You're trying to achieve individual goals. So to be recognized for that and be all state, that had to just be an unbelievable moment for you as well to share with your family too.
Yeah, that I remember like I was working like really hard like all 4 years, like that was like kind of my goal was to get all state. And like it was really nice to be able to finally do it like the last time that I was able to do it. Yeah, that was really special.
Yeah, and then think about this, Kylie. You never rest on your laurels because you're excelling at this one sport, and then indoor track comes, and 2 years in a row, I believe, you make all area indoor and outdoor track for the New Haven Register, which is, as you know, a very popular paper for so many years, and to be selected and be chosen to such a prestigious team like that, that has to be an unbelievable feeling as well.
Yeah, I remember really like the first time that I got selected, like I did not really believe that like that was happening. But yeah, and I've seen it like so many times, like just seeing like all these like highly competitive girls like on those that list, and like it was really nice, and I was like really excited, and I was like hopefully like some college coaches are gonna see this. So that's like really like where my mind was when I saw that. But yeah.
Right. Now, Kylie, did you have a goal in mind to run in college? I mean, was that always what you wanted to do by the time maybe you were like a junior in high school, or did it ever enter in your mind? I mean, what were you looking? Obviously, you're looking to get a great education, but what was the mindset as far as running went after high school?
Yeah, so I would say about my sophomore year is when I started thinking about running in college, and I don't think I would have a degree if I didn't run, just because like I don't know, I wasn't really like going towards that direction. Like school, I never really liked school, and so then once I realized like oh I could actually be good enough to run in college, that was like my main goal was just like okay I need to get like as fast as possible and obviously like keep my grades as good as possible to run in college. So yeah, that became like the main goal like after maybe like sophomore junior year.
And a lot of things that that kids do nowadays too when they're going to go run or they're going to play football, whatever they might play, or they're going to go to a college, they do what's called the sign-in day, and you got to do the sign-in day that day. And how did that feel? I mean, I'm sure like in the back of your mind you're thinking, wow, it's a whole new world for me now. I got to really step it up. But I mean, was that a very exciting day for you as well to be able to have your family, friends there, and when you signed your commitment to Central?
Yeah, that was really exciting. Yeah, I don't know, it was just like kind of a nice feeling to be able to have everyone there. Especially like um there was like the like I think he was like an old athlete of both Derby and Central. He was there. And I thought it
Oh,
was like
Jimmy Keefe, I bet.
yeah.
Yes, yep.
Yeah, he was it was really cool that like he came and just like having like my family and like all my teammates there was like really fun. So
Right. And we know how big part of your life Derby was. Was it a little bittersweet that day when you graduated? I mean, I know it was a great moment to share with your friends and family, but I mean, you're closing a chapter in your career that was very special to you. So just talk about what graduation day was like for you that day.
yeah, I think I was mainly excited during graduation day. Like I think it kind of hit me a little bit afterwards that that chapter had finally closed and there was like no going back. But I think it was definitely bittersweet that day. But at that point, I was kind of like, okay, I've accomplished um, most things that I've wanted to do. So it was nice to be able to just like kind of celebrate that day.
Right. So talk to me about two things here, Kylie. Number one, what was the first semester like for you at Central as far as academics went and being a student there, but also freshman season across country? I mean, how? I mean, you seem like a very confident kid who just takes every challenge that's thrown at her in stride. But I mean, being an 18-year-old kid, you had to be nervous going in early.
Yeah, so my freshman year of college was not not all sunshine and rainbows. So that was like a really really hard transition for me. I think like the first moment that I stepped onto campus, I was just like, I'm not ready for this. Like, I don't want to be here. And I ended up getting sick like that week. I ended up having to go home. And then during school, I ended up catching mono, and I just like kind of like left school for like 2 months, and did not do well academically or anything like that. I ended up just like working my way back like into like academics and trying to get back into running. I don't think I started training for running until January the next year, because it was just like a really really bad illness that I had, and so that was really rough, and it was a really hard transition because of that. I just felt like I was like kind of like an outsider like on the team and everything, um, but Coach Blake really helped with that. He made me like kind of like come to practice all the time. He's like, it's okay that you're not training. Like, you need to be here. You need to be with like your teammates, and he really helped with like that aspect of like kind of keeping like my like community and everything. And I got really close with like the girls on the team and everything, and like they're some of my best friends now. Um, but yeah, so like that was really tough. But I think it was definitely eye opening in terms of like things I just like needed to learn with like running. It's not always going to be like a linear like progression. Like, things are going to kind of knock you down a little bit, and you got to kind of keep moving towards what you want. So.
But think about this, Kylie. That um, 2018 season of outdoor track, you accomplished something very rare as a freshman. You finished first in the CCSU Track and Field Invitational for the 3,000 meter, and the time was unbelievable. I think it was like 10:54:71, something like that. So just talk about that, because I mean, right away you were thriving there, even though maybe you didn't think you were in the beginning. As a freshman to do something like that, that's remarkable and astonishing. So just talk about what that was like.
Yeah, so that meet specifically was like we called it like a mini meet. So like there was it was just me and my teammates and a few other runners, and I think it was really good because like when I did start training, like I had like my pack of girls that I would run with, and I think like during outdoor, like the progression that I made in that short amount of time was like, it was amazing. And I think like Coach Blake's training like was really good, and it kind of like helped me through that, because I was like, I've never experienced like that kind of like high mileage training before, and all of a sudden like I'm PRing and in such a short amount of time, and winning races too, which I wasn't really expecting. I guess like that was kind of like the goal at that time, just because there were so few girls. But to say that I did that like my freshman year, it was a good feeling, for sure. And knowing that like I was gonna hopefully like PR for like the rest of the season, I was like, okay, like this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Right. So Kylie, tell me this. Explain to me, or break it down for us. What's the difference between running in high school and running in college? What's the similarities, but what's the differences as well?
So the similarities are definitely, they're both highly competitive, I would say. I mean, I guess in high school it depends like on like what level, but I know like in college like everyone is there to like accomplish something, and it's a lot different than high school because of just the amount that you're doing. It's very taxing. Like you're putting hours of your day into the sport, and it's kind of like a full time job, where it's like, okay, like you're getting up at 6 a.m. to go run like 6 miles, and then we had like doubles too. So you'd get up at 6 in the morning, do some training, and then at 3 you'd go and you'd run some more, or like you would cross train or something like that. So it's very different because in high school, like you're practicing once a day for like a few hours and that's it. But in college, like you're putting a lot of time towards it. And that's pretty much like the biggest thing. And like the meets are definitely different too, where it's just a lot more competitive, and you're kind of like the small fish in a big pond kind of. And you can definitely kind of like lose yourself in college a little bit, just because you're like you don't really know like what your goal is. But then like again, you just kind of have to like go through like the motions and know what you want and kind of just work towards that. And kind of like forget about everybody else. Like you can't compare yourself to everybody else.
Right. I know in high school it's 7 runners for cross country. Is it the same for college, or?
It is, yeah.
It is. So it's not easy to find your way on that team or to be one of the 7. So I mean, the fact that you were able to go through college and be one of the impact runners for that program, that says a lot about you. And it's obvious that you continued to work as hard as you did in high school. And think about this, you're trying to focus on a career, you're trying to get a degree, and at the same time, you're trying to compete. It's not easy to do both.
Yeah, it was really hard to kind of like balance the two, but not impossible. So yeah, that was good.
Right. And Kylie, let me ask you, I just brought it up a little bit, but did you have an idea when you entered your freshman year what you wanted to major in, or did that kind of develop in time?
So my freshman year, I definitely wanted to major in exercise science. And then I ended up changing my major a few times because I realized like I wanted to be like a physical therapist or something. And then I realized one, I don't like science, and two, I don't like touching people. And that was like a big part of exercise science. Like you had to like our one of our exams was like you had to do like a body composition like thing, and you had to like pinch people. And I was like, I'm just not comfortable doing this. So I ended up switching to elementary education, and being a teacher was kind of like in the back of my mind, like all through like high school and stuff like that. And I was just kind of like trying to deny it a little bit, where I was just like, no, like that's too basic. Like I need to do something different. And a lot of my friends were elementary education majors, and I was kind of just like at a loss when I did change my major. So I was like, fine, I'll just do that and like see if I like it. And I did actually ended up liking the classes. But then I like when I transferred, I decided I was like still kind of unsure, and so I changed it again to interdisciplinary studies, which I ended up graduating with. Just because it's a little bit more of like a broad degree, you kind of like create your own major in a way. So, yeah.
Right. Let me ask you, Kylie. There were many highs that you had as a runner in college, many accolades and great accomplishments that you achieved. But is there one particular race that stands out to you more than the others?
Ooh. Um, I would probably say, that's a good question. There was, oh man, there's so many of them. I'm trying to think.
I mean, the 5K was very impressive. I mean, the 1951, that was a tremendous time for a 5K. So, I mean, that's one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there was the conference meet for at Central for my freshman year. That was an amazing race. Like I think that was probably like the most memorable, just because it was raining so hard that it hurt my skin. And I had only run like a track 5K one other time before that, and I ran like so fast the first mile, and then I died. So this time I was kind of like expecting like I know like what to do, and I know like how to pace myself now. So um and it being like a championship meet was like really exciting, and I knew it was like really important. We had just like traveled it was like 8 hours to, I think it was Maryland that we were running in, and like we had stayed at like a hotel. It was like the first time I was like doing any of that. um but yeah, that race, like just being in it and like knowing that everyone is kind of just like feeling the same pain that I am, like we're just like kind of like running through the rain. I can't see. You kind of get like numb towards like what you're like actually doing. It's like, am I running fast? Am I running slow? I have no idea. I'm just going to try to like pick off as many girls as I can. So that was like a really cool race. And then as soon as I crossed the finish line, the sun came out. So it was like really cool to experience that.
Right. One of the things, Kylie, that I think people don't realize too, and I know you realize it because you went through it, is a basketball player, they might get a little sore after a game, but they could wake up the next day and they could go out there and still run the same up and down the court. A baseball player, as long as he stays healthy, you know, he could still play center field or he could play first base. Obviously, pitchers you worry about, they could hurt their arms. But what people don't really realize is runners, you have to pray that every day your legs are cooperating because, like anything else, and I know you know this, you could have this unbelievable workout where you feel like $1,000,000 and you can't wait to get back out there the next day. And then your legs don't feel the same the next day. You really got to push yourself just to get through a workout. So, how hard was that at times? Because, I mean, that is not easy because you need your legs to cooperate. You're using your legs basically to do what you love to do. But at the same time, the legs could only take so much. I used to always think to myself, God, Muzz used to have these kids do these 9 half-mile repeats, and these kids would just do it so well. But God, it's not easy at all.
Yeah, it's tough to this day. I struggle with that because it running can be so unpredictable. It's like even like on easy days, like you don't really know like how your legs are gonna feel, but you just kind of gotta like push through it. And like especially during races, it was really tough. If one thing was wrong, and like let's say it, and it could be anything. It doesn't necessarily like have to be your legs. Like it could be maybe your chest hurts or like mentally it like running is like a huge mental game and like sometimes like you were just like not confident in yourself or something was going on where you just like have like a block or maybe like you can't move any faster for whatever reason. And like that was always like really tough like when that would happen like during a race because you're just like this is something like I can't control and I want to control it but there's really like nothing that you can do. So that was always it's tough, but um, knowing that like it's just like a bad day and like knowing that like there's other days where you can kind of like prove yourself. It's always like good to kind of like think about that and just like kind of move past it. Say like what can I do differently? And then it's like okay, like let me just like move on.
Right. Kylie, there's obviously some great derby runners that since you graduated who have done tremendous things, and you got a few runners right now. One kid that I really love watching a lot is Cassie Silkoff. She's going to be a junior at Derby, tremendous runner. And I mean, what would you say to somebody like Cassie who is really striving to do her very best to continue running as well as she could run? What advice would you give her for these next 2 years? I mean, what would be the message you would send to her?
I would probably just say like just have like fun with it. Like in high school, I think it's really important to just like um remember like it's not all or nothing all the time. And definitely like obviously still like work hard, but just like remember like you're not going to be there forever. So just like enjoy like the time that you have like while you're there. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and let me ask you too. Obviously, all these accomplishments you've had running are tremendous. I mean, you've had so many that, I mean, it's a testament to what you've done. But I'm sure the proudest moment in your life thus far was getting your degree, and talk about what that was like on graduation day because that had to be such a special moment and a bigger moment than any state title or any championship you ever won.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable day because for the longest time I was kind of like, is this even going to happen? Like I don't even know if I'm going to graduate. But yeah, like walking across that stage and like just having like people that I care about there supporting me, it was amazing. To like finally say like, okay, I did it. And kind of to just be like, all right, that's done. Like let's move on to something else. So yeah.
So, Kylie, before we go, I just wanted to ask you, what would you say has been thus far in your life? I mean, you've got plenty to do. I mean, you're going to accomplish so much more, but thus far in your life, what has been the most rewarding thing for you?
Um, I would probably say, honestly, getting that degree is probably um, the most like I don't know, like the most thing that like I've like accomplished because like I really didn't believe that like I was going to do it, and I think a lot of people especially like from my freshman year like probably did not believe that I was going to like finish college. They thought I'd probably drop out. And to kind of just like prove them wrong, prove myself wrong. It feels good to be able to know that like I accomplished that, and that I was able to run all throughout college too. It's a good feeling to know that I completed that.
Well, Kylie, I really appreciate you giving me some time today. Number one, you're a credit to Derby, you're a credit to Central, but you're even more than that. You're a great example to not only kids, but as to adults as well. Because I mean, you set that example every day of hard work, dedication, commitment, and just go out there and challenge yourself to be the very best you could be. And I really do admire you for that. And I congratulate you on a great career. But more importantly, I congratulate you on getting your degree and taking the next step in your life. So thank you for coming on today. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Well, there you have it, folks. You know, this superstar, and that's what she is, a superstar, has done so many things on the track, on in cross country, you name it. This kid has done everything. But I think most importantly, the thing that will stand out to me the most about Kiley Rodriguez is the passion that she has to excel at everything she does. She never lets anything stop her. She never takes any shortcuts. She understands that success is not an elevator. You have to climb stair by stair. And it's safe to say that this amazing individual has reached the very top. You know, if the legacy of a person is based on the lives she's touched, the people she's loved, and the example she set, then the legend of Kiley Rodriguez will live on forever. For Hometown Heroes, I'm Mike Canucci saying good night, everyone.